Such a sad story, and that's what many families are going through right now.
Yeah, the storm has put a burden on so many people, including this man, Tuscaloosa Mayor Walt Maddox. Mayor, we know that you're extremely busy these days, and we appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Kind of describe what you've been through the past couple days.
The last 72 hours have probably been the most trying for the city, at least in my memory. When you have nearly a 6-mile path of your city that in some places is between a half-mile to a mile wide, the devastation is complete. We have over 5,000 homes and businesses that have been destroyed or severely damaged. The task before us is enormous, and we continue our search and rescue efforts along with now beginning to gradually transition into the recovery phase.
Mayor, so many people have called our newsroom and asked us about the boil water ordinance right now. Explain a little bit about that. A lot of people want to know, is it just for drinking purposes? Do you have to boil it if you're going to take a bath, that sort of thing?
Well, I would, if you're in that zone, which tonight has been reduced, if it's off the top of my head, it's from Veterans Memorial Drive all the way to Jack Warner Parkway, east of Kicker Road and west of Hurricane Creek, I would recommend that you do. It's because we've had low pressure in those areas, and when you have low pressures, low pressure of the sort we had, ADM advises that you do that. The good news is that our water pressure has returned back to normal level. All of our tanks that were impacted by Wednesday's storm have been brought up to 100% level, but we still are keeping that in that zone. We're doing a final round of testing overnight, and once our microbiologists have cleaned it, or approved it, excuse me, it's been a long 3 days,
Sure.
Then we will clear that area.
But as of right now, if you're using the water whatsoever, you need to boil it still.
I would. There's been no sign of contamination.
Right.
We've done multiple tests at multiple sites, but it's still an advisory by ADM, and we think people should honor it.
No, what's the difference between the water restriction and boiling the water, and are we under a water restriction, and is that for the whole city?
Right before I came over here, I signed an executive order releasing the water restriction from the city of Tuscaloosa, so now you can go back to normal water use within the city.
Okay. Also, the death toll now at 39. Originally, last night it was 45. What was the difference in the number discrepancy?
Well, the sheriff and I were talking about that coming in. The city, we have numbers within the city and numbers within the county, and oftentimes in disasters like this, these numbers can fluctuate because of the enormity of the situation. And I've said this from the very beginning, and I will say it again tonight. We provide statistics of what we know, and we do that to be transparent. But when you're dealing with something of this magnitude, I think we all need to be very cautious and understand that these numbers will become clearer in the days ahead.
The curfew that is in place right now, that's mainly for the affected areas, but you guys are asking everyone to please observe it as well, correct?
Absolutely. It helps. Chief Anderson recommended that we do that, so I went ahead and implemented the curfew. It's going to probably be in for the foreseeable future. It's in for tonight. It'll be in for tomorrow night. Tomorrow morning when I meet with my command staff, we'll make a determination how far we want to extend it into next week.
And I saw, I believe in a media release maybe, or heard in a press conference that there were 2 arrests in relation to the curfew. Is that correct?
That was last night in Forest Lake. We made 2 arrests because of violation of curfew.
Were people looting, or?
Well, they weren't looting at the time, but I don't think the police felt their intentions were good.
Has the looters, the price gouging, any of that negative stuff that really comes out of this, has that been a problem for you guys?
Well, we've had some instances, but a lot of this becomes urban myth.
Sure.
Somebody says, oh, I heard this or I heard that, and then when we go to verify it, it's not exactly true. But what we have to do is remain vigilant. The National Guard has been tremendous. The city of Northport, surrounding municipalities, the state trooper, ABC, they have supported us and the sheriff's department in a very critical time.
And what do you do with rumors? I know we get calls into our newsroom. We hear rumors, 40 bodies found somewhere. I mean, what do you do with that? How do you sift through what's real and what's false?
That's why we have an incident command team, and we work through the process, and that helps us go on reliable information. We don't have time to chase around wild rumors and urban myths. We're going to deal with the facts in front of us, and we're going to move in a very methodical way to make sure, number one, we get everyone accounted for, and number two, we can begin to, ensure the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens, and three, I hope in the coming days we can transition to a recovery phase, and then the fourth, the far out goal right now is getting our folks that are homeless into temporary housing and then transitioning into permanent housing.
the affected areas, I know you guys have checkpoints set up right now and everything, not letting people into there, but people still want to come down there. They want to see the destruction firsthand. But the reason you guys are keeping people out is really for their own safety, correct?
Well, I'll admit there are difficulties getting into the affected zone, but there's a reason. We want to establish law and order. I would rather, as mayor, be dealing with the issue of you having a tougher time to get in than to be dealing with the issue of having looters running rampant in areas that have been affected by the tornado. We will work through this process, but in talking to Chief Anderson and talking to General Gales, I felt it was very important. We have a sign of strength in these areas to know that people who are having to leave know that where their property is, it's going to be as protected as best as possible.
Do you believe that this compares at all to New Orleans with Katrina?
I have no way of knowing, but I do think there are some similarities in terms of you have a large number of people who don't have housing, and how we interact with FEMA is going to be very important in the weeks and months ahead.
All right, Mayor. Well, we appreciate you being with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any last questions, John?
No, I just want to say I know it's been a trying couple of days for you guys. Appreciate you coming on tonight.
We've got an excellent staff, and they are doing an amazing job for the
Yes,
people
you
of
are.
Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank
Mayor.
you.
Thank you.